A simple caddis larva pattern. It's got a little bit of soft hackle on it to give it some life and movement. I'm using Spanflex for the body. It's just like a stretchy floss, rubbery material. And this fly really works. Very easy, you can crank a bunch out. Cuts through the water really easily, gets down to the right depth. And I'm going to show you how I tie it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate in a size 12. My favorite size in this is probably a 14, but this 12 works as well. I'm going to mash the barb, place it in the vise. Just a standard heavy grub hook. I'm going to grab some sticky back lead, like I do on most of my flies. I use the round stuff too behind beads sometimes, but this stuff is nice. You can get thin profiles, which I really want to keep a thin profile on this bug. So, starting back here well around the bend, make a couple touching turns, and wrap up just short of the eye. Okay, only going to do one layer, keeping it thin. Start up here at the eye with your thread. This is an olive Benecki 12-0. And give yourself a nice thread base so that you have the underbody color on here. And you get the double benefit of securing that lead in so it's never going to move on you. Trim off the tag when you get to the back there. Okay, good. Come back up. Here's this Spanflex material that I'm using in an olive color, medium. I've got a little 4 to 6 inch piece here. They come in like 10-inch pieces, maybe 8, but you can get like 4 flies out of one strand due to the stretch capability. Okay, tie on. Give it a real good stretch again to keep it thin. To get a nice smooth body, keep everything right on top. Wrap until you come off that lead body just a little bit. Come well around the bend so you got that little bit of taper in the back. And come up to the front. Now I'm going to put a little half hitch on with my end of my bodkin there. You can do it by hand, but that's easy and slick. I have kind of rough fingers, so I use the tool whenever I can. Okay, this first wrap, you want a nice stretch on it, so it lays right flat against the shank of the hook there. And then let off, keeping a little bit of stretch on it at all times, but not so much that you're losing this nice color and the segmentation effect that you get by keeping it slightly rounded. Take your time and wrap up in even turns, touching turns, if you can. Okay, stretch down to the front again and tie off. Okay, there we go. Make some good wraps. Stretch again and pop off. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is just use a little bit of dyed olive Hungarian partridge. This is just a bag of them. I didn't buy the skin this time, but and just like I did if you watched my bird's nest nymph that I tied last, I'm going to utilize some of these bigger feathers that I would never normally use by just cutting a V out, stripping back majority, leaving forward as many as I want up to imitate some legs on the fly, just like so. Okay, I'm just gonna place these as long as I want them. I only want these about as long as the hook point, really not very long at all. Allow those to just wrap themselves and fold around the hook shank. Make a few nice wraps and take a look. Okay, that looks decent. Sometimes you get a better wrap than others, but I assure you this will catch fish. Take your time and trim off the remainder. While I've got this feather in my hand, I'll trim off that part, and now I've got another triangle for the next fly. So on a bigger feather like that, you can get 3 flies at least. Okay. Using my fingernail to kick back some of these fibers, trimming away what's long. I'm going to go through and catch and pull back anything that's hanging out behind the eye, and then form a small head. Okay. Oops. 4 or 5 turn whip finish. Tighten it up, come in and just use the edge of the scissors to pop that off. And we're almost done. What I am going to do, you don't have to do this step, but I like to because most of the caddis have a little bit darker head than their body in the waters that I fish anyway. I'm just going to grab a brown permanent marker Sharpie and tint this head by just dyeing the thread dark brown, making sure not to get it up on my hackles. And if there's a band of green behind it, so be it. Fish won't care. Give it just a second. Blow on it lightly. If you have a alcohol-based head cement, it'll kind of make that run. So I give it just a second to dry. Lightly blow on it. Grab a drop of this and get it on there. Just like so. And that's it. That's a quick, simple little caddis larva that really works well. In fact, if I have it paired with another more detailed caddis larva, like some type of a check nymph or something like that, or a pupa, generally they take this smaller, easier, more simple pattern for whatever reason. You can imagine a lot of variations to this. You could add a little bit of tail appendage on it, which I've done. Sometimes I eliminate the soft tackle and just put a little bit of antennae almost out the front. But it all works. Thanks for watching.